everybody, welcome back to another episode of Digging Deep. I'm Tara.
I'm Cody.
And it is finally raining.
It's finally raining. It's been a very hot week here.
Although it rained last week, but I mean, we had a huge heat wave this week.
We had a huge heat wave this week, mid-30s with the humidity, not a lot of wind, so I wouldn't be surprised if some stuff was not happy this week.
Well, I had something happen to me this week that's never happened to me in my whole life. I am 42 years old, and I got my very first sunburn.
Yep.
My back is sunburned. I wore sunscreen all day, and it was nothing.
I would say after this week, all of the trials crew and the grounds crew, the farmer's tan are fully in motion now.
Yeah, I was wearing a stupid shirt though, so I have very horrible tan lines. Not a good day for my first burn.
No.
I'm lucky I made it over 40 years without getting a sunburn though.
Yes.
I do like sunscreen. I'm also a farmer by blood, so I think we have different kind of skin.
Right. You're just accustomed to the sun.
We are. All right. I'm just going to load up to see if we have anyone joining with questions. Here it is. Perfect. Ooh, let me turn down. All right. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Liz. They're watching. Let's start with, let me see, Lisa's question, because it's very, very timely. The heat wave has been very hard on my garden. Nothing seems to be thriving except the weeds. Any advice?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, the good thing about weeds is that when it's really hot and dry like it is, it's a good time to go out and pull them out. And, if you're in a field like us, you just put them between the rows, they kind of bake, and then they kind of wilt and dry out, and they die that way. So it's nice not to have to haul them away. It's an extra step we don't have to do. But saying that, rain does make it easier to weed, especially for taproot plants like dandelions where you want to get the whole root.
Yeah, there's nothing more satisfying than pulling out the entire root.
Yep.
Oh.
Otherwise, the best thing you can do, water early in the morning, usually before 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is usually when the heat of the day comes, so get out there first thing in the morning when you wake up with your coffee, go out and water your garden and let it go for the day.
Yeah. Hi, June. June's watching too. Now, would you be fertilizing extra because of the heat or no?
I wouldn't say extra. I would stick on a familiar schedule. But saying that, if you do have to fertilize, and if it's the middle of the day, try to avoid getting a lot of that on the plants, because the soluble fertilizer, or the fertilizer in general, can burn the plant leaves, and you're just going to further stress them out.
Yeah, I spilled some fertilizer on the ground over in the grass, and I was like, that's going to kill the grass. Yeah. And Nathan, our coworker, was like, what do you mean? I thought fertilizer helps it grow. And I was like, not that much fertilizer.
Yes. Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, there's one little tiny dead spot, and it's because of fertilizer.
Yeah.
All right. So, next question. Stephanie, how come my spinach has little flowers on it? I didn't know spinach flowered. What's happening?
So what's happening is it's stress flowering. So because it's so hot, the plant's saying, hey, it's really hot, the environment's really nice, I'm going to get ready to set seed so I can reproduce. And that's exactly what's happening. Spinach is a cold crop, does better in the spring and fall. If you're going to grow it in the summertime, I recommend full shade, and if it has to have any sun, just a couple of hours during the day.
Yeah. Nothing
more than that, but that's what's happening. You might see other plants, radishes do that as well, lettuce will do that, so a lot of root vegetables and leafy crops, that will happen too.
All right, we got Jody and Marjorie watching. Hi guys. A question from Liz. She says, what is a good fertilizer for things like corn? I tilled in manure and compost, but they seem like they need a boost.
So if you think it's the foliar growth, the above ground part, your triple 10 would work really, really well for that. You want to do probably a one-time application. And I would say, since you have compost and manure already there, you want to put it on at about 50 pounds per acre. That's about the rate you would want to use. So just kind of, break it down a little bit, cross multiply, and just figure out how big your space is, and then just kind of apply that same rate to the triple 10.
Liz, what makes you think that it needs a boost? Do you see yellowing tips? Is it not growing?
Yeah, we do have some corn in our field that seems to be not growing. It germinated really well, not growing, but we already applied fertilizer at 100 pounds per acre. So now we want to make sure we're doing a second application that's half rated. So that's about 6 weeks after the initial fertilizing, so that might be what's happening here as well.
Yeah, and something that's probably happening to our corn is we've been so busy that, the weeds are kind of taking over, and weeds can steal nutrients from your plants.
Yes, they can, yeah.
They're mean.
Yeah.
Natasha, what is something you can use to keep animals like cats and dogs away from gardens?
The best thing you can use, there's a product called Critter Witter. It works super well. The active ingredient is just the spicy part of the pepper, and they basically eat it and sniff it, and they're like, that's too spicy, I don't like that. And they run away, basically. It works for squirrels, raccoons, all the critters. Only thing with that is that you have to reapply after rain because it just washes it away.
Yeah, works really well. Liz got back and said they're just not as tall as she'd like them to be. And it could even just be the heat of the summer and not enough rain.
When did you plant them, Liz? If you let us know roughly when you planted them, that might also indicate what might be happening too.
Oh, we got Darla watching. Hi, Darla. Marjorie says, what is massacring my hybrid rose leaves? What is a natural solution?
That's a good question. It could be a number of different things.
I would guess Japanese beetles because they love roses.
It could be. There's also caterpillars, earwigs, might be a number of other different things as well. Without a picture, it's hard to tell, but if you take a picture of your rose of what's happening and send it to our customer service email, they'll kind of send that to me, tag in the subject line, digging deep, Cody, Tara, whoever. We'll have a look at it and then we'll get back to you and we'll kind of figure out what's happening.
Yeah, could be anything. Could be anything. I find the earwigs are really bad this year.
Yeah.
I didn't find them bad last year, but like this year, even like today in the greenhouse, we're planting up some containers. We pick up a tray of plants and just the earwigs falling.
I think within the last 7 days is when the earwigs have really come out this year.
Yeah, and like I want to, we have a lot of milkweed on the property, and there's like earwigs in every tip of the growth. They're just covered in earwigs, and I want to get them because they will eat the eggs of the monarchs.
We have some cannas at home, and the newly emerging leaves are well wrapped. And you just look down inside of it, and you just see I wouldn't say hundreds, but a good handful of them in there just crawling around, and it's not fun.
All right, Marjorie, I will send you an email after this is over, and you can reply to the email, and that way we'll get it. I've got your contact information. Eliz says, not sure the exact date, but a farmer mentioned they were putting corn in as I got mine a few days afterwards. Well, I mean, a farmer's definitely probably using a little bit more fertilizer than the home grower.
Yeah, they would be putting conventional fertilizer on for sure. And probably some other products that would be helping it along. It might have been treated seed too, so that probably had a jump start from the beginning as well. I would say start with a 10-10. And if it's a new planting, within the last 6 weeks, I said 50 pounds per acre. I would even cut that back to 25. After that 6 weeks is usually when a lot of nutrients are leached out of the soil. So I'd hate to see you put too much nitrogen on and then get nice, big, beautiful corn stalks that are 10 feet tall, but then you won't get any ears.
All right. Natasha says, I have dahlias planted in pots for the summer. In my area, I know if they were planted in the ground, they would have to be dug up. Is it okay to keep them in pots and take them inside during the winter?
Yeah, you can do that. I don't know how they will do in the wintertime. They will probably go dormant, or you'll see some sort of plant stress on them. They may drop leaves, flowers, that sort of thing. The best thing you can do, though, if you can't dig them up and store them for the winter, or the best thing you can do is dig them up and store them for the winter, the tubers. Cut back all the growth on them after a nice hard freeze. Let them dry out for a week or two out of the sun, and then just store them someplace cool and dark.
Yeah, we put ours in the basement, and even though when we pulled them out of the basement, they were shriveled.
Yeah.
Especially compared to what we send out, because we send out dahlias, and the tubers look great. Ours were so shriveled, and every single one of them grew.
Yeah.
We had a 100% success rate. They're very easy to store. Don't be overwhelmed. It might seem like an advanced gardener thing.
Yeah.
But they will do very well.
Yeah, bare root them, take all the soil off them, take all the extra foliage off them. And even in the middle of winter, check on them every once in a while and just take away any of the ones that are rotting and stuff. And come early spring, they're going to look really shriveled, and you're going to be those don't look healthy. They're fine.
They're fine.
Yeah,
they're
they'll come back
absolutely
just fine.
But you could store them in the pot. It's just hard because if there's moisture in the pot and they sit on them, there'd be more likely chance that they're going to rot.
Yeah.
I would dig them up. I think you would be okay to do so.
Yeah, bare root them. Yeah, super easy process. It's just bare rooting them, let them dry out, and then you're good.
Yeah. Something I do when I put dahlias in the ground is I put a Google Calendar reminder.
That's a good idea.
To dig them up because I always forget. And then we have a couple hard frosts and it's too late.
Yeah.
So I like to put a reminder in. Cheryl says, can you transplant asparagus that is 3 years old and put it somewhere else?
You can, but then you're going to have to do the process of waiting for it to establish again for another couple of years before you can start harvesting again.
Yeah, it'll be stressed out, but it should survive.
It'll survive, yeah. You'll just have to, wait for it to establish itself, and the spears will probably go back to being small, and then after year, it'll start to get bigger again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be transplanting it now if you had to. but like if I was moving from a house that had established asparagus, like I would be taking it.
I would even wait till like late summer, early fall before you start transplanting. It's just not a good time of year to transplant things. It's so hot and dry that you're really gonna have to baby the asparagus. You really have to watch for water, so it's just not a great time to move them.
I moved a coneflower yesterday in the early morning when it was still cloudy, and I watered it well, and it is so sad.
Yes.
And it's not flowering.
And for anyone who doesn't know, coneflowers and echinaceas are like troopers, super hardy.
Yeah, and they love horrible soil. They're so easy, and it was very sad, but it was either transplant it or have it die. So we transplanted it. Hope it works out. We'll wait until like Monday to know for sure. I don't have... Carol says, I don't seem to have any luck with container gardening for veggies. What should I be adding to my soil, if anything, and how often should I water?
Okay, so for container gardening, the first thing you want to make sure is that you have good drainage. If you're using buckets, containers, raised beds, what have you, you want to make sure that there's holes to let excess water out. Especially with last summer, a good story I have is we have a pot of cannas on our back deck, and there was a plug in the drainage hole, and I had no idea there was a plug in there. And end of the summer, I came out and there was water up to the top of the pot. I was like, "What the heck? That should not be there. That should be in the ground somewhere." Come to find out, there was a plug there. So drainage is ideal. You want good draining soil. So start with like a potting mix with some perlite, vermiculite, peat moss, that sort of thing. Amend it with some like organic matter. You can add a little more perlite if you tend to get a little more rain where you are. And then go from there. Plant your items. If you're doing like root crops, make sure it's deep enough for your root crops like beets, carrots, parsnips. You want like 8 to 10 inches deep. If you're doing fruiting crops, peppers, tomatoes, squash, anything like that, they're going to take more water than less. Go start with those things and then go from there. Maybe if you have a couple examples of what your containers have been like, we can kind of figure out what's happening there.
And I think something that's really important, starting a new container is usually easy and everything grows well, but if you're reusing that soil the next year, it's going to be deplete of nutrients. So you should be removing a little bit of soil and adding more organic matter. And like tilling deep and tilling, like mixing it up well. Crop rotating. Angie, interesting topics. Your magazines are always very helpful. I'm going to segue on that comment to be like, just to brag a little bit that I was published in this magazine.
You were published.
So Canada's Local Gardener, they reached out to us to write an article. So me and my boss, who's the director of marketing, we did write this article on pollinators and how to protect our food supply. And I'm very proud of it.
Yes, it was a great article.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys ever see this, but it is available in stores. If you want me to autograph it, you just let me know.
So it basically just touches on the importance of having pollinators and, without pollinators, how much less food there would be.
We would have nothing. And the pollinators are so important. And, like cleaning up your garden too early is even poor for the pollinators because you're removing eggs and larvae and they're still in a dormancy state. And I know people want everything to look pristine, but you got to think about the bugs because the bugs do everything.
Yeah, and it's not just bees too. There's flies and other bugs too that make great pollinators. Animals as well, like hummingbirds. They all make great pollinators.
Yeah, pollinators. I love pollinators. I love monarch butterflies. I'm going to show these because we have it. We planted our raised bed. How big is our raised bed?
Our raised bed is about 13 by 42 feet. So in the pictures,
I have this one.
So this year, Joyce Kelly, who works on our team, did an amazing job designing a truck with carrying a pumpkin on the back.
Yeah. Let's see
and what year would you say that truck is, Tara?
I call it a 67 parsley.
Which is the best name for the design. It's a 67 parsley bed.
It's amazing. So yeah, the truck is planted out of parsley. We've got marigolds for the giant pumpkin. This is a different picture of the bed. You can see on either side of the truck, we have an established milkweed patch that we're going to let stand there for the monarchs.
Yeah. And
I'm watching
parsley plants, we use, I think, over 200 parsley plants. Our pumpkin's made out of marigolds. How many marigolds would you say are in there?
Oh, geez. Probably like 300.
Yeah.
It's a lot. They're very close together.
Yeah, so we could easily say there's probably between 500 and 750 plants in that bed.
Yeah, we did Dusty Millers for the windows. We have actual tires for the tires and some Dusty Miller in it.
And then our milkweeds on either side, we have all different colors. We have butterfly flower, we have pink, white, and some orange milkweed in there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the monarchs this summer.
I've been watching Every Day for Eggs, and I'm like eyeing up those earwigs.
You're on monarch watch.
And I'm like, don't you eat those eggs. Marjorie says the name of the magazine, it is Canada's Local Gardener.
Yes.
So, yeah, very proud. If you're ever on PEI or around, come stop in the grounds. You can see this one better. There is strips back here. These are our flower trials. So if you want to see...
Which are also open to the public if you want to walk around and look at them.
Yeah, we got display beds. We got flower trials. You might catch the next greatest thing in our catalog. Man, missed half. I shall replay. Yeah, Charles, it'll be available on YouTube. It'll also be on our Facebook page if you want to watch. But yeah, we're also here every second Tuesday.
Yep.
And we never even got to talk about...
No, we didn't.
Our dragonflies. These two are for giveaway today. We've got one here in our... Which tomato is this?
This is Red Robin.
Yeah.
So this is our dragonfly here. So this is a new item we just added. So these are a fake dragonfly. You clip them on your hat or whatever you wear on your head, your shirt, whatever. And it keeps horsefly, moose flies, all the big flies away from you in the garden. You've used it.
Yes, I actually asked for us to get it because
Yes.
I was being stalked by horseflies and I had off on and they weren't staying away and I was like, we need these dragonflies.
Yes. So you've been wearing this. It's been keeping them away. They're not. I'm assuming once in a while you might have one fly by you and see the dragonfly, and then they like kind of fly away from you, but none landing on you by any means or swarming around you.
No, actually Nathan put one on yesterday, and because one was bugging him, and he put it on and it went away. But then it started bugging me, and we actually clipped it to the container, like our veg truck that was between us, and it stayed away.
Interesting.
We weren't even wearing it. It was in between us, and
so what you're saying is like strategically place these throughout your garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would even wear it to the beach. I don't know if I'd put it on my
That's a good
hat
idea.
at the beach, but I mean, if you had it clipped
Like-
to your chair.
Or like an umbrella or something like that too, yeah.
Yeah, because the flies at the beach are quite annoying.
Yes.
I'm excited for this. So we're going to give these away. One person will get both of them. We'll do it a little bit later. We'll ask a trivia question.
Yep.
Which I don't have a trivia question.
We'll get
really.
one.
We'll get one. Love these products. They are $11.95. They are on our website. They are in our retail store. We've almost sold out of our first shipment, and there's more coming on Monday. So everyone should have one. I love these so much. All right. Can't wait to try the dragonfly. The flies are awful this year. The flies are awful this year.
Yes.
And they're really bad where we are, where our flower trials is. There's a cow farm.
Yes.
And the cows are right there, so we have a lot of flies. Caroline's question is 3 things worth. So we'll start there.
Okay.
All right. Hello. My Georgia Candy Roaster winter squash is growing like crazy, but one male bloom opened today and no others in sight. 4 or more female blooms are on the way. I usually pollinate my squash with male and female blooms from the same plant. Advice/questions. 1. Do you know of any trick to the plant into producing both types of bloom, I assume at the same time?
Right. So what happens is that squash plants, cucurbits, melons, cucumbers, pumpkins, all of those, will produce male flowers about 7 to 10 days before they start producing female flowers. They do this as a way to start training pollinators, like bees, to come to the area for pollination without having to sacrifice the female flowers in case there isn't any pollinators. So plants doing a really cool thing. It's like, yoo-hoo, bees over here, and it's like bringing them over here, and it's like, all right, you're here now. I got some female flowers. We're gonna make some fruit, kind of thing.
Yeah, you always see the male flowers first, but the female flowers are almost always like right behind it, and the male flowers will keep coming as well.
Yeah, and they'll keep coming the same time as the female flowers.
All right. I snipped off the male bloom, wrapped it up, and put it in a Ziploc bag into a cool spot in the fridge. Will this preserve the pollen?
So I'm not sure about putting it in the fridge, but I have seen like large pumpkin breeders who are trying to breed a seed that produces bigger and bigger pumpkins. What they do is they find the male flowers and the female flowers, and they'll tie them shut gently. And then when they're ready for pollination, or when if it's raining or a day after the rain, then they'll tear off the petals and they'll put the 2 flowers together to pollinate them. So all you have to do is tie them together on the same plant.
Yeah. Can I pollinate with male blooms from another squash? A, my winter sunshine squash is producing both male and female blooms. It's round and orange, and Georgia is not. 2, I suppose cross-pollination with a summer squash like Magda is verboten?
Yeah. So because they're all in the same genus, they all carry similar genes in the same number of DNA. So you can actually cross-pollinate them between each other. It's not going to harm fruit for this year, but it's next year's seed that comes out of that fruit that it's affecting. So, if I have a little green zucchini and I want to cross-pollinate it with like a pumpkin, I can do that, and it won't affect the zucchini for this year. But if I save those seeds and plant it next year, who knows what I'm getting?
Absolutely.
I could get a zucchini the size of a pumpkin. I could get a zucchini that looks like a pumpkin. Like, who knows what you're getting?
Yeah, our pumpkin and squash patch is always planted side by side, and our compost pile always produces the strangest looking squash.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
It's a very fun experiment to do. Just don't expect to get the same things the following year as the same year you're growing.
Yeah. The only thing that cross-pollination affects year of is corn, because you're eating the seed.
Yes, exactly, because that's what you're eating. Is you're eating the offspring, which is the seed corn.
Right.
Yeah.
Carrie says, what do you recommend for reducing potato bugs? We are growing organically, and the potato bugs are insane this year.
Yes, they are. Row cover is the best thing you can do right now. Cover the plants. Potatoes are great. You don't need pollinators to them, so you can cover them and keep all bugs off of them. After that, you're looking at like just hand picking.
Hand picking. I find hand picking is probably more effective.
Yeah.
And when I'm hand picking, I pick off the big bugs, and then like if there's a leaf that has all the larvae, I'm just picking the larvae off. Have a small bucket, something smaller than this, like a half bucket, soapy water, and just throw them right in.
Yep.
See leaves with some larvae on them, because you really need to get the larvae.
Yes, and if you are seeing larvae, diatomaceous earth will work as well. You're just going to make sure that they're like crawling over it, so you really kind of got to dose the plant in it.
Yeah, getting the eggs is hard because they're on the other side. But yeah, just pick them off, throw them in a soapy bucket.
Yeah.
It's going to work better, I find.
Yes.
It's very satisfying. They're really slow.
Yeah. If you have chickens, chickens love to eat them. So if you have some way to capture them and feed them to your chickens,
Yeah, we haven't seen any potato bugs yet, have we?
Knock on wood, not here. Home in the garden, we have potatoes this year, and holy.
We have enough cucumber beetles, so
yes, yeah, that more than makes up for it.
So awful. I hate all the cucumber beetles.
I know.
Jensen says, I forgot to cut off my garlic scapes. When I finally did, they were so hard and too tough to eat. Will my garlic be smaller now?
Your garlic might be a little bit smaller, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you get, if the flower opens, that is taking energy from the plant, but also you're getting it before seed production starts and before it forms seeds, which takes even more energy. So you might see a little reduction in the bulb size, but you won't see a whole lot.
This bucket, I wish you could smell this bucket. It is full of scapes.
Yes.
Absolutely full of scapes. They are my favorite. These are like perfect.
And we just at home, we cut them up like you would beans kind of thing, and we throw them in with any random meals kind of thing.
Oh my god, like replacing the green beans in a shepherd's pie,
Yep.
or just like fried on the stove with butter.
Yep.
I would grow garlic just for scapes.
Yep.
I mean, I find garlic so cheap in the store, and you can get it all year round, but scapes are just like this small window.
This year we did new potatoes, new carrots, and garlic scapes all kind of like barbecued together in the basket, and it was delicious.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I love scapes. Anyway, we're going to divide those up. Those are from all of our garlic, and the staff get to eat them,
Yes.
so it's very nice. And that's our second harvest, and I think we got them all now.
Yeah.
But I think the scapes are early this year.
They could be.
I think the scapes are early. Alan, I need many dragonflies, mosquitoes, and bulldogs are horrendous. The mosquitoes this year.
The mosquitoes, yes.
Yeah. How do you even bring dragonflies? Just having a nice big garden?
I guess so, yeah. They like to hang around water and like rush plants, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you got some water on the property, if you can try to introduce some of those plants. Growing up, we had a pond and I saw dragonflies, but that could also be because there's more mosquitoes in the area as well, so there's a lot more food source for them. So,
if you have a lot of mosquitoes, another thing to do is put up a bat house.
Yes.
Bats eat their weight in mosquitoes every single night.
Yes.
If you have a family of bats move into your yard, they will eat most of your mosquitoes.
We had a really interesting experience last year at our place on the backside of our house. So the wind was blowing from the east, on the backside of the house is from the west, and all the mosquitoes were kind of behind the house because they were out of the wind, and this was just before the sun went down, and there was 2 bats flying around eating on the mosquitoes. The first time I've seen bats since I've been a kid. First time, and it was so
Nice.
cool to watch them for like a half hour swooping, like eating all the mosquitoes and stuff.
That would be
And
like,
we have a bat house on the property, so
I would be like, get him.
yeah.
I'd
Oh,
be
we were
like cheering them
we were
on.
like, yes, very much encouraging them.
Yeah, there was a dragonfly in the greenhouse today, and he was beautiful.
Yeah.
We were talking about these dragonflies, and he showed up, and he was like, "Are you talking about me?"
We sure were.
We sure were. We always have dragonflies around here, though.
Yeah.
We like the dragonflies. Elizabeth, I've planted garlic in the fall before, but they were so tiny. Any tips on growing bigger garlic bulbs?
Amend your soil with some organic matter,
Mm-hmm.
and then mulch with something, whether it be straw or peat or wood chips, anything like that, just to help retain some of that moisture.
Oh, another good thing is moving your garlic.
Yes.
How long do you have to wait in between plantings?
Usually about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is what you want to do for rotating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just cover cropped where we're putting next year's garlic.
Yes.
So we'll plant it this fall, but we put peas and beans down, and then when it gets close to planting the garlic, we'll till it in,
Yes.
add nutrients back into the soil.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for
And
garlic.
if you're like, saving your cloves from year to year to plant the biggest ones and eat the small ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, my kiwi plant produced a lot of flowers this year, but I don't see any fruit. Any ideas?
That sounds like the male kiwi plant.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardy kiwis or the Arctic kiwis, they come with female plants and male plants. And you do need both in order to get fruit on the female plants.
Yeah.
But it sounds like in this case, the female may have gone amiss somewhere. They didn't realize they needed a female plant. And it sounds like they just have a male plant that's producing male flowers, and that's all they've been getting.
One of the things we lost in Fiona is our kiwi,
Yes.
and I'm so sad.
Yes.
And we don't carry it in the catalog anymore.
Yeah.
We can't even replace it.
Mhm.
It's a very sad story.
Yes.
Terrence, I'm in zone 5. What is there still time to grow?
Oh, there's lots of time to still grow some things. You can do some bush beans, beets, carrots, lettuces, radishes, spinach, greens. Did I say carrots?
You did say carrots.
Carrots. You could direct seed cucumbers. You can direct seed summer squash. There's still a number of different things you can grow now.
What would you do for flowers?
For flowers, anything direct seeded. Yeah. You can still get away with marigolds, zinnias, cosmos, anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, we just did some planting of zinnias and bachelor buttons yesterday.
Yep.
So there's still lots of time.
Yep.
It seems like we're through it. And things like radishes and beets, you can replant them again in like late August.
Yeah.
Especially if you've already pulled something out and you want to fill a spot.
Yep.
It's a good idea.
And radishes and beets both can handle some cool temperatures, so they'll grow well into the fall.
Yeah, and spinach.
Yep.
Anything you wouldn't plant?
Anything I wouldn't plant? Pumpkins. It's a little late now. Tomatoes, peppers, corn. Basically, anything that you wouldn't do as direct seed, I wouldn't plant now.
I need to stop by. Oh, Elizabeth, I need to stop by for more carrot seeds. Something is attacking them.
Yes.
I know that we've had a lot of Viceroy butterflies around,
Yeah.
and they've been on our parsley. They're on Joyce's carrots at
Yes,
home.
yes.
They like that family. Like monarchs eat milkweed,
Mhm.
Viceroys eat that family.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them, but like they are also eating it all.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Jody wants to know what we mean by direct seed.
Direct seed, so that means you're taking the seed and you're putting it right in the garden. You're not starting it ahead of time, like inside or in a greenhouse.
Right.
Seed from package right into the soil or right into your container, wherever it's going to live for the rest of its life.
Yeah, something like sunflowers. Most people would be
Yeah,
familiar
sunflowers.
with. You know,
Yeah.
always like putting it directly in the soil. Where
Yeah.
a tomato, you're seeding it in a container.
Yes, because it takes much longer for them to mature and produce fruits. If you were to do them now, you would probably have to bring them inside in the fall before you would get fruit.
All right. Oh, I just got a text.
Okay.
And it says, we're looking at offering the hardy kiwi again in spring 2025.
Ooh, there you go.
That makes me so happy. These are the best kiwis.
Yeah.
You need to eat these kiwis. If I could shout anything from the rooftop, it would be eat these
So
kiwis.
for anyone who hasn't had them, I would say they're the size of like a cucamelon probably, or a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they're very tiny.
Imagine like a big green grape that tastes like a kiwi that you don't have to peel. That's essentially what they are.
It's basically this size.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically this size. I'm very excited that we're getting it back.
Yes.
And you need two. You need the male and
yes,
the female.
You need the male and the female, yes.
And it's different than apples where you need two separate varieties.
Yes.
This you just need a male and a female.
Yes. And if you want to have more than one female, you don't necessarily need another male. You just need to make sure that male is in the vicinity of all the female plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious. We have tomatoes here. What tomatoes are these?
So this is our little Birdie series tomatoes. So the one between us here is Red Robin. The yellow one you have in your hand, that's Yellow Canary. And then there's a pink one, which is Rosy Finch. And these have been growing in the store since February 23rd. And Yellow Canary probably is about 7 to 10 days sooner than the Red Robin and Rosy Finch. But since, end of February, we've been growing these tomatoes in the store, and we finally have fruit.
All right, do you want one?
I'll have one.
I'm glad I want the yellow one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's good. Need some cucumber and some
Pepper.
cheese.
Mm-hmm. A charcuterie board with the little Birdie series tomatoes.
Yes. Danielle says, same question for zone 3. Still time to grow anything? I just moved and haven't started anything.
Look at your last frost date. I'm just not super familiar with zone 3 and when your last frost date is. Look at Environment Canada. You might have to do a little bit of digging, or you can, if you have some local garden centers, you could even ask them when the average last frost is, and then just kind of go based on that. If the last frost is going to be let's say September 1st, then I would, be doing spinaches, leaf lettuces, radishes, beets, that sort of thing.
Even carrots, like in Napoli, I think the days to maturity is 52 days.
Yeah, and they can handle a little bit of frost, and carrots are a nice thing where it's you can harvest them at any time and eat them, but most people like to let them size up more, but if they're in for 50 to 60 days, you get a nice baby carrot.
Yeah, and even if they get a little frost on them, it sweetens them up.
It does.
Their starches convert to sugar. I always prefer my carrots with frost on them.
Yeah.
That's why parsnips taste better if you let them overwinter.
Yes.
Oh, winter parsnips, so good. Kylie, what is your best advice for brassica to keep your brassicas from bolting? I never seem to have much luck with them.
So brassicas, you want to choose ones that are heat tolerant. And you want to avoid brassicas like bok choy. Those are super they bolt right away. Mustards bolt right away. Avoid those as best you can. If you're flipping through our catalog, usually in our broccolis, we'll say this one's cold tolerant, which means it does really well in the spring or the fall. Mm-hmm. And we're this one's heat tolerant, so that means it does really well in the summer. So just look for those when you're flipping through.
Yeah, and is it too late to direct seed brassicas?
No, so you could definitely do some broccolis. You could do some summer cabbages. Not saying you couldn't do a winter cabbage, but I'm not sure if you would get a sizable head by the time it was ready to harvest.
Yeah.
But you could certainly do, pick and choose from some of the earliest varieties and just kind of run with those.
Jeff-Valerie Reed says, what is the best spray for peach trees?
For peach trees, it depends on what you're treating. So the best thing you can do annually is do a dormant oil treatment every spring, and that's just the sulfur and lime spray. And basically that just kills any overwintering diseases and fungus and any pests that might be living on the tree. That has to go on when it's overcast, a certain temperature, no rain in the forecast. Super specific conditions, but it helps them out through the growing season. So I would say start with that.
Yeah. Tara Roloff says the best seeds. I think we do have the best seeds.
I think so.
Yeah. Especially because we don't just bring things in. We trial everything. We grow everything.
We try everything that we grow.
We measure the peppers. We do everything. Mm-hmm. Carrots, we're dropping them for drop tests.
Yeah, so that would be part of our commercial trials. So because commercial trials are using a lot more mechanical equipment. They're working on concrete floors. If they drop, some carrots, they don't want them to shatter, so we want to make sure that they're not going to break on them.
Yeah.
We'd be very surprised at some of the some of the data we get back.
Absolutely. And some of the things are weird. We grow, I think, how many different types of green beans this year? Over 20?
Yep.
And we are measuring every one, and we're checking the diameter of the pods and how many picks you get off them, and picks per plant.
Yes. And you would be surprised at how different, over 20 different beans taste.
Yeah, so, if we say it's the best, it's because we've literally eaten all of them, and it is the best, and we stand by it.
And Lewis, in my mind, is still one of the best beans you can get on the market.
Well, I have my favorite. We just haven't added it to the catalog yet.
Haven't added it yet. We're hoping this year.
Let me see. Are yellow tomatoes Less acidic. Marjorie, these little birdie ones don't have a lot of acid in them at all. I can't handle an acidic tomato. I only mildly like tomatoes.
Yeah.
These ones are fine. Some of them make me make a face.
Yeah. But like in general, orange and yellow tomatoes do have less acidity to them. Because I'm the same way. Like I don't like a super acidic tomato. But like Tough Boy Gold, one we added a couple of years ago, that's a great tomato. It's also crack resistant too as well. It has a bunch of disease resistances. It's a great tomato.
Sun Gold is the best tomato, and I will die on that hill.
Yes.
I will die on that hill.
Yes, I am up there with you.
What's the name of this seed? That was the yellow canary, right?
Yeah, so this is the Little Birdie series of tomatoes. So if you're in our catalog, it'll be in the cherry tomato section. We have yellow canary, red robin, and rosy finch.
And what are there? 3 plants in here?
There's 3 plants in there, yeah. So these are specifically dwarf tomatoes for growing like on a windowsill or on your patio table. And I thought it was a good way to showcase them was to start growing them in like February and then plant them under some light gardens in our retail store.
Yeah, they've been in our retail store. We also have our Sweetie Mix that produce these small peppers, which I love small peppers.
Yes. So they produce like a snacking pepper. Very, very few seeds inside, so you don't need to scoop seeds out. And they come in 3 different colors, red, yellow, and orange.
Right. I would rather take 3 different small peppers and have different colors than have one big pepper.
Yes.
Especially when I don't want a lot of pepper, then I have to put half a pepper in my fridge.
And the nice thing about these is that, like, if you're going out the door and you're like, oh man, I need a snack for work today or for this afternoon, if you're walking by your pepper plant, just pop a few off and then you have a snack for the afternoon.
All right. Oh my god, that's so good. You want that one?
Sure. I might save mine for later.
All right. Hardly any seeds. It's so good. And yeah, just grown in our store.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Okay. I've seen blueberry plants need acidic soil. What is the best thing to add for blueberries?
So the best thing you can add is aluminum sulfate. It is like one of the only guaranteed things to lower the acidity of your soil. And it is one of those things you need to keep reapplying. Saying that, I would start with a pH test, whether you know that's an at-home test with a pH meter or you're sending a soil sample away. You can damage the plants if the acidity is already too low for the plants. You can damage them. So, and by sending it away, it tells you what your level is, and then you can kind of work out how much you need to add to get it to the within range of what you want. And it is something you have to look at adding, you know, once a year.
Jeff Valerie Reed says, my rutabaga are splitting. Been keeping even watering. Any tips?
If they're splitting, that's a good question.
I'm going to guess that if he's watering and we're getting all that rain, it could be too much water.
Yeah, because radishes do something similar where, you know, if it's really dry and hot for a long time and not a lot of moisture, and then we just get a whole bunch of rain all at once, the plant just like sucks it all up, and then it just like keeps sucking and doesn't stop, and then it can't handle the water, and then they split.
Yeah, and especially like the sun comes out and then they just growth.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess I wouldn't even be watering my rutabagas.
Yeah, so if my if they're in a container, I might be watering them, but if you're just out in a garden bed, I wouldn't even worry about it unless you went like 2 weeks or something without water.
Yeah, and depending on where you are, I mean, maybe they need boron added to their soil. I know on PEI we have low boron. I don't know if that leads to splitting.
Usually brown heart, which is just like an internal defect.
Yeah. I wouldn't be watering my rutabagas. I'd be letting them go.
Yeah.
Tara says, I love the small ones in a sack tray or salad, especially macaroni. I love the small peppers.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they're ready. Fresh out of the garden is the best.
Yes, it is.
All right. What else do I have? I don't have anything.
Okay.
What are we going to ask for a trivia question?
I have a question for the trivia question.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, let's remind everybody.
Yeah, let's remind everyone what we're doing.
We got 27 people watching. The first person to answer the question correctly in the comments will win. We'll mail it out to you. We will put it in the mail today, but our Canada Post has already picked up our mail, so it actually won't ship out until tomorrow.
Yes.
But send us your address in the comments. Not in our inbox. Don't put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll contact you maybe.
Yeah. We'll get in touch.
Yes.
Don't put your address. Don't dox yourself.
Yes.
2 of them. One winner, both of them.
Yes.
I don't think we should do 2 winners.
I think one. Yeah.
I think one person should get 2 because like.
What if I want one for like either side, or if I want to clip them on both my ears or something? Like.
What if like you're on one side of the garden and I'm in the other side of the garden?
Exactly. Like.
Yeah, I think we'll do 2.
Yeah.
One winner gets both.
Yes.
What is the question?
So the question might not be super obvious, but we do talk about it all the time on this podcast.
Okay.
What is Veseys as a company, and we do talk about it, favorite carrot?
Ooh.
Yes.
What is her
favorite carrot variety?
I think I know immediately because it's my favorite.
Yes. So the first person who answers in the comments, we'll contact you, and then we'll get your address, and we'll set you up, and we'll send them away.
I even think I said it a couple minutes ago.
You did. See if anyone's paying attention.
Marjorie?
Right away.
She's so good.
Yes.
All right, Marjorie, I already know your address, so no need to send it. That's awesome.
So Marjorie, you're the winner.
And Napoli, sorry. The answer is Napoli.
Napoli carrots are the best carrots.
Mm-hmm.
Full-size baby carrots. They are easily the sweetest carrots we carry.
Absolutely. Perfect. You can let them get big. You can eat them small.
Yeah.
They're the best carrots.
Yes.
Pelleted, raw, organic, all the ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What are you doing next week?
What are we doing next week? Well, we have everything planted now.
Yes.
We're going to be doing some weeding. We're going to be doing some evaluations next week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even tomorrow. We have some cucumbers that are ready, some radishes, so we might be doing that tomorrow. Next week, I've been watching the lettuce and the trials. We might be eating some lettuce next week, too.
I'm very excited. We ate a radish last week. It was delicious.
Yes.
That was like one of the better radishes I've ever eaten raw.
We have some peas we'll probably be eating next week as well.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Stuff is moseying right along.
Yeah, we have a lot of weeding to do. We've been so focused on getting everything in, but everything is in.
Yes, everything is now in. So now we can focus on weeding, making things look really nice, doing our evaluations.
Planning for the next catalog that's coming out, which is always super exciting time.
Yes.
Taking pictures. I know I've been lax on taking pictures and posting videos, but we've just been so busy.
It's been very busy. But now we're going to start doing more, and I've been thinking of a couple of good questions I'm beginning from customers we could do some videos on.
Yeah, and we did that series about whether deadheading your peonies made it, and there was no conclusion because we got a gigantic rainstorm and all of the peonies fell to the ground and got trampled.
Yes.
But I would say I don't think it mattered.
Yeah. If there was an increase in size, it was very unnoticeable.
Very unnoticeable.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is that when your peony is spent, deadhead it, cut it off. Don't let it put energy into forming seeds. Let the next ones grow.
Yeah, exactly.
I have your email to send to you. Pick for that roses. Marjorie, I'll send you an email. I have your address. I'll send you the tracking number. We'll be in touch. All right.
Any last minute questions?
No. No questions. All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have some things to trial for you. Maybe we'll do a little
That's a good idea. Maybe
trialing.
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll bring in some of our varieties and we'll try them on air and we'll kind of talk about their features.
Especially lettuce would be a good one to show the difference between lettuces and their best uses.
Yep.
We'll be in touch. Thanks everybody for watching. Marjorie will send you your dragonflies, and everyone have a great day.